Hello Year 3, it is Miss Wilkinson. This is your final RE, Religious Education, lesson with me. And then you will have the lovely Mr. Howell. So our final key question is, what is the Hindu sacred text? This word sacred in here means special. Text can be in the form of a story, of a poem, anything that is written. So what is the special written stories or poems are the things that Hindus read within their religion? What is special to them? And your learning objective is to understand how stories, so stories within these sacred texts, impact on Hindu moral life. So that means how do the stories told within the texts change or guide Hindus in the way that they live their life. So we're going to have a little look at that today. Now, before I go any further, it is a very complicated thing to explain, as there are more than one holy book. There's more than one text. It's not just one book that Hindus refer to. So I'm going to try and explain that to you a little bit better on the next slide. Please don't worry about it if you do not understand it all. It is very tricky to get your head around. Okay, so there's more than one book, more than one text that Hindus read, and they support and guide them in their daily life. So they help them to make decisions and guide them on which path to go down. And they contribute to the way in which Hindus worship, which you looked at last half term with Mr. Howell. Right, I'm going to try to explain this to you as simply as I can. But as I say, it is a very tricky thing to get your head around. Okay, so don't worry about this bit too much. Right, so the holy books within Hinduism can be split into two categories. So one is the Shruti here, and this means what is heard. And the Shruti, is split into 4 Vedas, which I'm going to show you on here, 4 books. One is an instruction for a ritual, and the way you do something. One focuses on the deities that we've already looked at, gods and goddesses. One includes songs sung, or is all about songs sung in rituals. So that's the book that you would go into there. And one is about hymns to sing during rituals. Now, as well as the Shruti, there's the Smriti, which means what is remembered. And again, within this one, there are other books. There are ancient stories and myths, Hindu story, and the longest poem in the world is within the Smriti. Now, all of these stories, tales, poems, songs come from Brahman, which we have done a load of work on this half term. And from Brahman, first of all, came the Vedas. Now, the Vedas were not easy for most people to understand. So Hindu teachers wrote the Smritis to try and explain them. And even those were a little bit difficult to follow. So there are a lot more books in a simpler language, then they help Hindus to understand their religion through story. Okay, and the stories are all about gods and goddesses and kings and heroes and other famous people. And they give examples of the best way for Hindus to live. And the way that the characters in the story behave can teach other people what they should do. And today we are going to look at one of the stories. I'm going to tell you one of the stories of Rama and Sita. Long ago, there lived a prince whose name was Rama and his beautiful wife, Sita. They lived in the capital city of India. Rama's stepmother had not wanted Rama to become king. So she asked her husband, who was the king at the time, to banish the prince and his wife. Now, banish meant that Rama and Sita could not return to their home in India. And with them went Lakshman, who was Rama's brother. Now, many years passed, and Rama, Sita, and Lakshman lived happily in a cottage in the forest and collected wild fruit and vegetables to eat. One day, Rama and his brother were out trying to catch a golden deer when Sita spotted amongst the trees, which Sita had spotted amongst the trees. It was the most beautiful creature she had ever seen, and she wanted to keep it as a pet. When they were gone, an old man came to the door. He was dressed as a wandering holy man. "Is anyone there?" he called, "to welcome a poor stranger?" Sita opened the door and welcomed in the holy man. This was the chance he had been waiting for this was no ordinary stranger. It was the terrifying 10-headed Ravana, the demon king in disguise. It was he who had sent the golden deer to trick Rama and Lakshman and keep them out of his wicked way. He grabbed Sita by the hand and bundled her into his chariot, and he sped away through the skies. However, Sita had been very wise and very clever, and she had left a trail of her golden necklace as a way for Lakshman and Rama to find her. The brothers knew of a monkey general named Hanuman, and he was in charge of all of the monkeys. They asked for his help in returning Sita. So he gathered all of his monkey army, and they built a bridge across a lake to get to Sita. Rama and the monkeys crossed the sea, not a lake, I said a lake before, crossed the sea to go and rescue Sita from the evil Ravana. And and Rama destroyed him with his bow and arrow. Rama and Sita found their way home through a path of oil lamps, as a reminder that light always follows darkness and that good always triumphs over evil. Now, once you head over to your tasks, this will be there for you. It will come in handy because one of them is going to be to retell the story. Okay, it does not have to be as in-depth or as mine was, but you need to be making sure that you're spelling names correctly as they are on here. Okay, so that brings me to your tasks. Task 1 is to answer the questions about holy books. Give it a really good go, and I haven't made them too tricky for you. Task 2 is to retell the story of Rama and Sita. Again, you can type it if you'd like, you can write it up, you could even do it in the style of a comic book if you would like. Draw the scenes, come back and look at the video, pause it, draw the characters and do speech bubbles if you would like. Be as creative as you wish, and I will be seeing you soon.